Right. Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone, wherever you are in the world today. My name is Chris Russell, and this is RecTech Live, coming at you on a Thursday afternoon from the Northeast. And I'm joined by Lady in Red, Maury Hannigan over there at Sparkstart. Hey, Maury, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
All right. So we're going to talk about embedding video into your job postings today with our platform called Sparkstart. And we'll talk about that. We'll get a demo of it as well. And, we'll get you some learning on sort of the latest and greatest recruiting marketing tools, which this is one of. So that's the topic for today. As always, this will be available on demand after the show is over via the same link. And we'll push out the message to everybody who attended as well if they want to come back and watch the replay. So Maury joins me from New York, and she's wearing her Sparkstart earrings. So kudos to her for wearing the company brand with pride there.
I tell everyone I'm very proud of these. My son made them for me, and they're a prized piece of jewelry.
Yeah, haven't met a vendor yet that has the earrings, so that's pretty good swag for you, and it sounds like they're very near and dear to your heart, so nice job with your son there. Thanks. So, Maury, tell us quickly about your background and what is the premise of Sparkstart as well?
Okay, let's start with my background. I actually started my career at Procter & Gamble in marketing, not employer brand marketing or recruitment marketing at all, but classic consumer packaged goods marketing. I was a brand assistant on Ivory Soap, the oldest brand in the country. And went from there to PepsiCo, where I still worked in brand marketing. I worked up to a director level in marketing. So that's my training and my mindset, is really looking at things from a marketing perspective, understanding how your audience is going to respond. And one of the things I realized, because I did a lot of recruiting when I was at Pepsi, is that all the things that good marketers do are the same things that good recruiters do. Right? They understand their target audience. They understand their competitive strengths and weaknesses. They understand what metrics to look at. They understand persuasion. It's the same process. It's the same discipline. But the HR piece of marketing was way behind the brand marketing. So that's when I transitioned over and said, there's no reason why recruiters are going out with text-only job descriptions. They're posting things on job boards that were designed in the 1990s. And by and large, haven't evolved very much. But now they're being asked to be marketers, and they don't have the tools to do it. And the reality is we're all walking around with high-def cameras in our pockets. The technology has become very easy. The Sparkstart platform, the back end that we see is fairly complicated, so we get the front end very, very simple. But none of it is bleeding-edge technology. It's not like video technology is new. It's been around forever. It's just a matter of packaging it and putting it in a format so people can access it easily and get it to do what they want it to do.
Yep. And the premise of Sparkstart is essentially it's a recruiting marketing tool with video that you embed in your job posting. Fair to say statement?
Yes, that's a piece of it. The whole premise of Spark is to spark interest in your job, right? And we say to clients all the time, all we do is get someone to pick their head up, notice your job, learn enough about it so they can make a reasonable decision to opt in or opt out and take that next step, whatever it is you want them to do. From there on, you're on your own. You've still got to be a good recruiter. You've still got to persuade them to take the job, but you can't recruit someone you're not talking to. And so the whole premise of Spark is to get people to notice your job, focus on it long enough so they learn something about it, and take that appropriate next step.
Yeah. So it's it makes your job stand out, right? I think that's kind of the point here, is to rise above that competition out there, the other talent acquisition companies, and get your jobs to stand out, right?
Well, to stand out and to get it where people are already looking. We're at full employment right now, right? There's 7.2 million jobs out there and only 5.8 million people looking for work. So the odds that someone's trolling a job board or trolling your own corporate career site, just going, I need a job, what's out there? Can I find something? The very best people are probably working. So what you need to do is get your job in front of them. And you've got to do that, whether that's on social media, whether that's a referral from one of your employees, one of their friends, you've got to figure out how to get it off your job board and in front of your target audience, whoever your talent community is. And Sparks are designed for that. They're really designed to get into someone's media flow so they actually get to see it.
Gotcha. And you've been doing this for a couple of years now? Sparks
yeah, we're 5 years old.
5 years old.
Still technically a startup, but old enough to know better.
Yeah. I'm curious, what have you learned about recruitment marketing that you could pass on to the viewers here in terms of just some tips and tricks and things you learned about this stuff all along the way? I mean, what kind of sage advice can you give them?
I think that the biggest thing that I've learned and really been surprised at is most TA organizations understand they can't post and pray. That generally doesn't work, that they've got to engage people. They become aware that the candidate experience matters. They understand that they've got to engage people, but they've still got the old tools. And so they're being asked to do a lot, but not really empowered to do that. They're trying to jerry-rig things. They're trying to put a video on YouTube and hope someone trips across it, or trying to patch pieces together. And it's really rare that you see someone who comes in and says, let's really think about the mindset of a candidate as they go through the process. So some of the simple things, all the videos on Sparkstart are under 30 seconds, right? This comes straight from marketing. When someone is first considering, a job, a product they're going to buy, a vacation they're going to take, they haven't committed yet, so they're not going to commit a whole lot of time. But we sample, you look at something short, you read a bullet point, you look at pictures kind of thing. And marketers understand that, right? TV commercials are all, occasionally get a minute long one, but they're short. It's all about just piquing their interest and getting them to the point where they say, gee, I want to know more. But you don't see that kind of discipline in recruiting. You see people go out there with these 2-minute long corporate overview videos. And if someone hasn't decided that you've got a job at your organization that's really interesting to them and something they really want to pursue, they're not going to sit down and watch a 2-minute video. And the numbers prove that out. So it's really, the piece that I say that's most transferable is understand how marketers market, understand, trials, almost lots of things. You can buy a trial before you jump into the whole thing. When you're getting a candidate to consider a job, like what little trial piece, what kind of sample do you put out there so they get a sense of it, so they can make a decision whether or not they want to return the call to a recruiter, whether they want to email back to someone who's reached out to them on LinkedIn. What have you given them to draw them in? That's the biggest piece. When we see people doing it well, they understand that, and they're using those tools.
One or two more questions before we get to the demo. What's the most notable, memorable Spark you've seen created so far on your platform?
That's an easy one. Easy one to answer. There are a bunch of ones that I really love. My favorite one was only 14 seconds long. And to be honest, the young man stood in front of a wall, which we recommend you don't do. You try to show somebody your work environment, but he did. But he basically just blurted out, he said, I've only been here for 4 months, but the amazing thing about this job is that management really listens to you and you have an impact. So if that's important, you should consider joining us. I went, wow, this was a millennial thought. He absolutely zeroed in on it, and he did it in a credible way. It was short. He didn't try to explain the whole job. He just communicated a piece that made the job great for him. And those are the kinds of things that make people go, huh, what was this guy doing? I like to say corporate communications could have spent 3 months trying to write, great copy for the video, and it wouldn't have come across as spontaneous, as honest. He just talked to people. He said, management listens to you. You have an impact here. And you completely believed him. So that's been my favorite, but there have been a bunch of others.
What's the best tip for making that piece of video believable and real?
The very first thing is, please do not script your employees. Do not hand them a script to read. They're not professional actors. They can't pull it off. And when you see people doing this as they're talking to you you completely sabotage what it is you're trying to do. One of the things, and I'll talk about this, is we give people prompts. We give them some prompts to guide them through it, but we let them do it in their own words. And that's when you get really interesting information. The other piece is, we really believe that you want to be job specific. You want to be requisition specific, because by and large, people aren't interested in watching videos of individuals that they're never going to work with, never going to have an impact on their career. Anna in the San Diego office may be absolutely lovely, fascinating woman. But if I'm going to work in the Minneapolis office, I kind of don't want to sit and watch a video of Anna. Sorry, but I don't. What I do want to do is watch a video of my boss, of the person who would be my boss, or other team members, because that's relevant to me. So, it's all about content. Do you have the right people in the video? If you've got the right length in the video, and have you given your people enough little guidelines to think from the candidate perspective? You don't want to get on a video and say, I'm looking for someone with 3 to 5 years experience in this, and you must have this, you must have, who cares? It's people to switch their perspective and say, why would the candidate want this job? What's in it for them? What kind of expertise will they get? What kind of learning? What kind of responsibility? What kind of impact? Why do they want to, stop their day? They're in a job where they're succeeding most likely. Why do they want to give that up to even consider coming to us? So those are all the things that make really good and really compelling video.
Yeah, you mentioned people want to know who they're going to be working for in terms of their boss. I think that's a great perspective on that. Years ago, I wanted to start this job board that was basically just hiring managers. Come work with me. Basically, was the premise, right? And I think your product kind of hits on that a bit. So I think it's an important thing to note that candidates want to know who their boss is going to be. So sure. even just putting the name of that person on your job description is a good step towards that, right? So they can go look them up on LinkedIn or whatever.
Right. Well, we recommend when people do their videos, they only give their first name. That kind of humanizes and make them real, but not their last name, because you don't want candidates reaching out to them.
Yeah.
Go around the recruiter, but sort of saying, hi, I'm Maury, I'm looking for someone to do X, Y, Z. That's great. Someone who's good can probably find me, but well, in my case, they can find me pretty easily. But if I were a hiring manager, they can hunt. But the real clickbait is meet your boss. If you reach out on InMails and you make your sentence, meet your new boss, the reality is people are curious. Even if they're not looking for their job, even if they're perfectly happy doing what they're doing, there's this kind of sense of, who's this person who thinks they're going to be my new boss? And if it's short, if it's 20 seconds, for 20 seconds, I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
2 minutes, I'm sorry, I don't have 2 minutes to listen to this person. But for 20 seconds, sure. And we've got the data to show that happens all the time.
Nice. All right, well, let's get to the demo then. Let's check out Sparkstart, shall we? Maury's going to share her screen, and we'll dive into the product here.
Got it. Okay. All right. Can you see the Spark?
I can.
The Spark? Okay.
Yep.
This is Spark. Sonoco Products, one of our clients, has got up at the moment for supply chain management. So the elements of a Spark. The most prominent element is obviously the video. So there's a video from the hiring manager. So if you took this job as a sourcing specialist in Hartsville, South Carolina, he would be your boss. Right? Okay. You'd report directly to him. There's a short video. Good for him. He did it in 11 seconds. Always under 30 seconds. But just a short, puts a human face on it, welcomes people, come to the job. You're just sparking interest. You're not trying to explain the whole job. You're just sparking interest. So there's a video of the hiring manager, and then behind it, you can have up to 2 coworker videos. So this is one of the people on the team. She'd be one of your coworkers, and this is another person on the team. He'd also be one of your coworkers, right? So these are the real folks you're going to work with.
Yeah, I like that team. The whole team's there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And you get 3. If you're the employer, you've got 3 chances to talk to people. They're each short. But if each of these videos, are under 30 seconds, before you know it, someone's listened to you for almost a minute and a half, and they've learned something about the job, which is exactly what you want to have happen.
Right.
So you've got the videos. We've got the top 3 reasons to apply. These are always from the candidate perspective, and we really recommend that people make them job specific, because when someone's considering a job, the first thing they do is they look at the opportunity and say, does this job make sense for me? Is this a good career move for me? Is this a job I'd be interested in? If there were a job in, let's say, internal audit, to our audience in TA, a job in internal audit is of no interest. It doesn't matter how good the company is. It doesn't matter if they're one of the top 50 companies to work for. An internal audit job's the wrong thing for them. So the first thing they look at is the job, and they say, does this job make sense? If so, then they want to put it in context, and they want to hear about the company. So making the top 3 reasons why job specific is really important.
Yeah, Maury, just a quick note on that. I like that section overall. I think it's great for selling the role. Did that come, is that an initial part of your product? Did you add that later on? I'm curious what the origin of that was.
Yeah, no, all of this has been from the very beginning. And I'll show you the research we did that got here. We basically went out to candidates and said, if a job comes across your radar screen, what do you want to know before you're willing to either respond to a recruiter or apply? Like, what are those questions in your head? And we've got a lot of research around that, and the kind of what's in it for me. Why would I want to buy? That was high on the list, not surprisingly. So we've also got infographics on travel and workspace, whether that's on-site, remote, or flexible. We have benefits here. These are just rollovers. There's no detail behind it. And again, we know from the research, candidates aren't ready yet to know about the deductible on your dental plan. They just want to know that those things are there. We do have a whole job description here. And I'll tell you, nobody's reading it, sorry, but they're not. Research tells us that. But I understand legal wants it there. And we say happy legal, happy life. So legal, it's all there with everything you want and need to have there. But then we have a synopsis of the company and social share buttons built right in. So when you click on the social share, I'll click on the Facebook link if I wanted to share this on Facebook.
Oh, wait, you can hide that box at the bottom. Just press the hide.
Which box at the bottom?
Press the word hide.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. So when you go to share on Facebook, our platform automatically generates this graphic. Nice. The wording, when I actually post this, it'll say great opportunity at Sunoco and give the title of the job. I can go ahead and tag some people, but that's all automatic. So it doesn't matter if you're doing this with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of those go there. If you have a talent community, we have the option to put a button in for the talent community. We have apply now buttons at the top and the bottom. And when someone clicks on the apply now button, they go straight into your ATS. So we don't collect any client data. We like to say when they hit the apply now button, the next keystroke should be the first letter of their first name. They should just start filling out the application. Yeah. They've made a decision, they want to apply, let them apply. Don't make them jump through hoops. Don't make them go to your career site and click again and any of that. If they're ready to apply, let them apply. So that's a Spark in a nutshell.
Nice. So how do you create these things? Take me through some of that back end in terms of, you do this all through your browser, I assume, right?
Yes. Let me go to, now I've hidden, can you see my Spark logo?
Yep.
Great. Okay, let me just walk you through sort of how we got here and some of the research that backs all of this up. This piece, I think everybody in the audience knows, right? Video, mobile, social, we refer to as one, we don't put spaces between that, it's one word. This is how candidates, how everyone is getting their information. And if you're not video, mobile, social, you're not in sync with how you're already, wading upstream. You're already trying to fight how people are doing things. So absolutely, you've got to incorporate all of these things into whatever tools you're using. One of the things we looked at is how employers are structuring the information for candidates. And we see organizations such as Home Depot. They're not a client, but I love their website, so I threw it up as an example. Did a beautiful job. Lots of really interesting, good information on the actual corporate career site. The problem is they, like everyone else, are driving all of their traffic to their job posting page because that's where all the aggregators are scraping. They're generally putting links back to the job posting page. So you have all this really wonderful content, but then when you look at the candidate information flow, they leapfrog over all of that interesting information and they land on a page that's generally all text. And if they're doing this on their phone, it's disastrous. So we're big believers that you need to put the interesting content where the candidate's eyes are, not in another place. Matter of fact, Career Builders did a study of 5,000 corporate career sites, and they found that 2.5% of all candidates went directly to the job posting page and left. They never looked at all that wonderful content on all your front-end career site pages. Only 7.5% of candidates ever went to the actual career site. And of that, only 1.5% ever watched the videos on the career site. So we talked to lots of people who go, oh, we've got videos, we've got them on our career site. Look at your numbers, look at the number of watches, look at the number of views and see what kind of impact you're really making. Understand your candidates are going to your job posting page because that's where you're sending them. That's where the whole system is sending them. Job boards, everything sends them there. And what are you doing there? What have you really got your most compelling content where they're actually looking?
Yeah, so basically the job description page now is basically a landing page. You got to think of it as a landing page.
Exactly.
That's going to convert the candidate, right? That's how you have to think about this if you're an employer today.
Exactly. Yep. And Ben Eubanks of Lighthouse Research and Advisory did a really interesting study about a year ago. He went out and he asked candidates, if you're going to watch video, what video are you interested in? What videos do you want to see? And not surprising, hiring manager was far and away the #1 choice for content. They weren't so interested in corporate overviews. Sorry, but they didn't want to hear from recruiters. They're not interested in recruiter videos. And that makes sense. Even sophisticated candidates understand that a recruiter is a very important person in their job search, but they're also transitional. They understand it's the hiring manager and the team that's really going to impact their quality of life going forward. So they weren't as interested in seeing a video of the recruiter. There was some interest in job preview. This mostly from campus, from students who weren't as interested in the job, but the hiring manager far and away was the content that was most interesting to candidates. And then he asked, if you did see a video of the hiring manager, what impact would it have? 42% said they would be more likely to respond or apply to a recruiter, and an additional 27% said they'd be more likely to apply. So there's a real positive impact. We're big on the results. You can throw a lot of video out there, but what we really want to know is, can you measure this? Is this really helping you attract more qualified candidates? So some of this data helps. I'll go through some more data that we've got as well. But the research says this is what's going on. Mm. I mentioned we did candidate research before we even started this, and the things that candidates wanted to know. First of all, what's the job? Does this even make sense to do for my next step? What are the responsibilities? What's it about? Where is it? That matters a lot to people. Who am I going to work with? Particularly millennials, they want to have a sense of, this is a bunch of gray hairs. What's this all about? They want to know about the environment. How much travel? Is this remote? Do I work from home? What's the deal? What's in it for me? Obviously, why should I even apply to this job? What's the company? Who are these people? Top line, just give me a synopsis of the organization. How big is it? Do they offer benefits? And if so, which ones? How do I apply? They don't want to be on YouTube and see an interesting video and then have to go to your corporate career site and go to careers and search for the job. Every time you make them click, you lose half of them. So if they've seen something that's compelling and interesting, they want a single click. They want to be able to apply. They don't want to have to go and hunt. And then lastly, they said, how do I share this? If I know somebody who'd be interested in this job, make this easy for me to share. So what we did with Spark is pull all of that together, right? So think of a Spark as really a job profile. Once you've gotten in front of someone, you want to go through and tick off all of those answers. You want to tell them everything they need to know, so they're not going to stop and maybe I'll go look at Glassdoor and see about that. Maybe I'll go to the corporate career site and see if I can figure out how to apply. Make it easy for them. Don't put barriers in the way to have them actually apply, but also let them know enough about the job so they make a reasonably good decision about whether or not they want to apply. Is this job right? You don't want a whole lot of people applying to your job and then going, oh, I didn't realize it was 25% travel. I can't be gone one day a month, thing. You want to make sure you give them the pertinent information so they make a good decision. And obviously Sparks are designed by phone. I just showed you one on desktop because that's what all these platforms make easy. But on a phone, the videos are top and center. Like I said, we have a lot of eye candy here, things that are easy to glance and look at, so that you can
be visual.
Yeah, very visual. We do put the job description in here, but we always truncate it at 3/4 of a page with a read more, so you're not thumbing past 5 pages of text. Synopsis, again, always an apply now button at the bottom of the top to make it easy, but all in one place. This is, think about this versus a job description on your phone. Very different experience. People just stay with this longer.
Yeah. Are you seeing on these pages, are they, is the time on site longer with these pages?
Yes, yeah, and I'll show you the data on that. It's at least twice as long. And you asked about how you made these. One of we have a lot of respect for recruiters. We're seeing recruiters with rec loads of 30 and 40 jobs. I don't know how they do that, but it's very even if you're incredible, how do you manage that? So we make this really simple, really short. You can set up a Spark in under 2 minutes. If you do it manually, we're integrated with all the ATSs so that you can have your ATS just send us the information and autofills. But one of the real distinguishing features of Sparkstart is how easy it is to get the hiring manager video. There are other folks that are out there that let you record videos, but all of them require that whoever's recording the video stop and download an app first. And every time you ask your people, especially a hiring manager who's short on time, maybe hesitant at first to do this, you don't want to put barriers in the way. You want to make it really easy. So the way we do it is the hiring manager gets an email that says we're, ready to market your job, please record a video. When they click on the record video link, a screen opens on their phone, and it doesn't matter if they're doing it on a phone, a laptop, a tablet. We don't care what the hardware or software is. We'll work on all of them. And so they'll see a screen like this where they can record themselves. We give them prompts. I mentioned we don't script them, but we also don't want them staring at a camera going, what do I say? So, we make it easy for them. 3 simple prompts that they can keep track of, that they can go through. They can record it. They can re-record it. They can play it back, make sure they're happy with it, and then they submit it. And so that's all that's required. They don't need any username or password. They don't need to download anything. We make it really, really simple so that they can do it and make it simple for the recruiters as well. We also have an option called Content Specialist, that if you've got someone who's hesitant, not sure, they can sign up for a 15-minute session with one of the content specialists here at Sparkstart. We'll talk them through it and record it as we're doing it and upload it for them. So we've got quite a few clients that take us up on that. People just, to be honest, we do it in about 5 minutes, but we have them block out 15. It's an easy way. And so we can take a look at the background, the lighting, we can check the audio, that kind of stuff as we're doing it, and just make sure they've got a high quality video. But mostly we just coach them to make sure that they feel comfortable that they're going to come across the way they want to come across.
Nice.
You asked about the results of all this. One of the biggest ones is that when you give people interesting content, they actually look at it. So people spend at least twice as long in a Spark as they do a job description. And some of it is, the videos, if those are 24, 28 seconds long, they watch 3 of them, you've already got them for a minute. And then those top 3 reasons to apply, they're bullet pointed. We need bullet points. There's something about those little summaries that engage us. The infographics, they're visual. You glance at those. We're all about kind of like suck you in a little bit. Here's a little tidbit. Here's another little visual thing to look at. And before
63 seconds versus 152?
62 seconds versus 152.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more than twice as long. The next big thing is that people share them. We say 4 times as often. I'll fess up here because I like your lot, Chris, you got the scoop. We completely made this number up because the real number is something like 4,000 times as often. And no one believes us because the number is so high. So we just decided to go for 4. But the reality is your employees aren't sharing job descriptions by and large. They're bored by that long page of text. They know their friends are bored by that long page of text. So they're not putting out there on social media. Their friends see it, they're not sharing it with their networks. But when you give them interesting content, they will share it, especially when you put your hiring manager and coworkers. We've certainly seen situations where someone, has shared on their own personal social media, hey, look, I'm in the company Spark. And they shared it with, all the people they went to school with, all the people they worked with in other jobs, all the people they met at conferences, because those are all part of their social network. And that's exactly what you want. Right, your current employees are connected to people who have similar credentials, and that's a large part of your talent community. So if you can launch it there, you're in great shape. So it's really important the way these Sparks get shared. They're easy to share. They're interesting content. We had, matter of fact, last weekend we had a client who shared a Spark on Facebook on Friday afternoon. We came in, we checked the stats Monday morning. They'd had 40 reshares. 40 people had reshared it with their networks, and they'd had several hundred opens of the Spark.
Wow.
We don't measure views. If a Spark goes by in someone's feed, we don't consider that an impression at all. Well, it's an impression. We don't measure that. That doesn't count. We only measure when someone clicks on a Spark, opens it, and watches the video. And they had several hundred over the weekend. I mean, the results were just phenomenal. Yeah. And last but not least, when you do include a Spark, if you're reaching out through InMail and you use the clickbait of, click below to meet your boss, people will click on it 8 times more often than they will on a job description.
Is that your subject line?
Well, that's what we recommend, yes.
Click here to meet your boss. Or say it again?
Yeah. Click here to meet your boss.
Gotcha.
Or some say, click here to meet the team because you've got coworkers as well. But meet your boss has proven to be really powerful over and over again. And for a recruiter, that's what they want. They just want someone to pick their head up and look at their job and consider it. And not surprising, we convert at least 2 times as many visitors to applicants as traditional job boards, traditional job posting pages. But I'll also tell you, there are exceptions to this, which we're really proud of. We've had certainly situations where clients on specific jobs have gotten fewer applicants rather than more applicants, but they've had higher quality applicants. We had one of the large tech companies was using this for their tech jobs. And what they found is when they're going through their applicants, the people who weren't qualified, they had few of those actually applying. And you never know why someone doesn't apply, really. But the speculation was that if someone had taken a weekend Python course and thought, oh, I'm going to go, be a Python programmer. Mm-hmm. When they listened to the hiring manager who talked about the kinds of projects they were doing in Python, the completely unqualified candidate went, I'm never getting through an interview with that guy. Right. Clearly they're looking for somebody who really knows Python. And so candidates were making a well-informed decision to opt out. But people who really love the complexity of the kinds of projects they were doing, they heard about it and they applied. So, no recruiter wants 400 applicants. Right? There aren't 400 people qualified probably for any given job. What you'd really love is 5 really, really good ones you could put in front of your hiring manager. We don't pretend that we can get you 5 of the best, in the world. But what we can do is absolutely concentrate that pool, get the good ones to apply, and give the ones who aren't qualified or aren't interested, enough information so they opt out. We had another situation. One of the major banks was hiring financial advisors, and they like to hire people with some experience, but they put them in a 6-month classroom training again to learn their processes. And they get a lot of applicants, but as soon as they get on a phone screen and heard that there was 6 months of classroom training, a lot of them just bailed out. Said, I've already got clients. I'm not going to interrupt my practice here for 6 months of training. Once they did the Sparks, and people listened to the video and they heard the hiring manager talk about the training program, they were having much higher yields off their phone screens because people weren't bailing out on them. The people who applied, the people who are interested, understood there was a training component, and that wasn't a knockout factor for them. So the recruiters, you'd rather call 10 people and have 10 fully qualified, available, and ready to go applicants than call 20 people. 10 of them go, no, that's not for me.
Gotcha. Good stuff, Maury.
Okay. So let me, with the sharing, let me just show you one of the ones that really made a difference. This is a Spark that Amazon had up that was shared by the hiring manager. So the hiring manager posted this on his personal LinkedIn account. He was the one that added the words on the top of the page, want to come work for me and have the chance to build something amazing for our sellers. Within 2 hours, this Spark had 80 likes and 16 shares. And the comments were great. Some people yanked his chain and said, dress for success as usual, I see, which was very much in keeping with the, the kind of the spirit of all this. I don't know if you can see it's light type, but things like, you'd make a great boss. Can I transfer out? And this Spark went on to have more than 1,000 opens.
This is classic engagement on LinkedIn. To me, this is like getting people to comment on your LinkedIn post is the best thing you can do for it. And it looks like your Sparks really help to generate those.
Yeah, absolutely. And we recommend that you tag people. When you ask your manager and folks on the team to please share it, ask them to tag 1 or 2 people that they either worked with recently or they went to school with or they met at a conference. If you know anybody who is looking, please pass this along. And you really do get amazing visibility in the right, community, which is what it's all about. Really making sure it's in front of the people that you ultimately want to hire. So here, going back to this whole idea of companies and TA organizations transitioning from, really post and pray or transactional kind of recruitment to much more marketing. We're seeing people asked to be doing social media, employee referral, all of these sorts of things. And we look at what are the tools you're giving these folks to actually accomplish this. And a job description isn't it. And really what Spark does is it touches on all of these. This is the tools that help you actually deliver on all of those objectives. It's the interesting content that you want to put on social media, and it's enough content. It's content for every one of your jobs. One of the things that a lot of social media folks struggle with is, how do I have enough new and interesting content? Well, you've got a steady stream. Big organizations are putting up new jobs every single day. There's new content every single day. For your employee referral, you're giving people something interesting they actually want to share. Job marketing, all these sorts of things. We're making it easy for people to do. There are a ton of other benefits to doing this. Just video alone gives you not only a sense of the work environment. People are interested, is this a formal corporate structure? Is this a cube farm? Is this open space? Am I working from home? You don't want to do a whole long thing about it, but just glancing at these videos, have a real sense of what the workspace is like. It's very central picture. Someone's clearly working from home there. To her left, you've got someone who's a formal corporate office. Obviously, at the bottom, you've got retail going on there. But the other thing that we find, you get to show your diversity, without the stock pictures, but really show your real people with age diversity and everything else. Video gives you an opportunity to talk about invisible disabilities as well. Personally, I'm dyslexic. That's hard to convey, but in a video, I can easily say I'm dyslexic, and I hand my stuff to people on my team all the time to proofread for me. I get support. Now, I'm CEO, so of course I get support because I asked for it. But in any organization, you get to talk about those kinds of things. And the biggest thing we hear back from hiring managers is that they're having better quality interviews because the candidate has seen the interviewer before they walk into that room.
Yeah.
There's something you're going to an interview and you don't know who's on the other side of that door. And that can be intimidating and people can go in a little nervous. But when you've seen someone, and either, wow, this person's really buttoned up, I better be on my game, I can tell we're gonna get down to brass tacks really fast here, is very different than, sort of watching someone and going, oh, they're probably, whether they're a little more laid back, they're gonna chit chat for a minute. It helps the candidate kind of match what they anticipate. And so your hiring managers don't have to stop and take time to calm them down. You get down to the nitty gritty faster. So we've heard hiring managers are really excited about this when people come in. And they've seen, there's also a little bit of star quality. Oh, I saw you in the video. That doesn't, from a recruiter standpoint, you always want to flatter your hiring manager. So that doesn't. This sounds awful. We've won all the major awards. We actually stopped applying because we had. Yeah, we won the biggies, which we're really proud of. But our platform is a very intuitive, very straightforward platform. It doesn't require hours and hours of training. We've lots of people just pick it up. It's pretty obvious when you open a screen and it says, hiring manager email. You put in the hiring manager email. But it's quick, it's clean, it's intuitive. We're really proud of the product that we've got, and we've gotten some nice recognition for it, which we're really excited about. So kind of in general, if you want to engage candidates and if you don't want to engage candidates, we can't help you. That's absolutely should be a goal of making sure that for anyone who's qualified to do your jobs, they've got a reason to pick their head up and look at your opportunity and to consider it. And you've got some content that will make them do that. If you want to increase your employer brand, there's nothing that's going to be more authentic and more credible than your actual employees talking about what it's like to work there, right? It's not scripted. It's not phony. We hear candidates talk all the time about how put off they are by overly produced videos. They call them corporate happy talk sometimes. They're too slick. They're too produced. They don't believe a word of them. But people ask us all the time, these employee generated videos, are they polished enough? And the answer is yes. And oftentimes they're more credible if they aren't perfect. We say to people, if a hiring manager trips over a word, that's okay. That's the way normal people talk. When individuals send videos to each other, they don't always speak in perfect sentences that are grammatically perfect. They sometimes run on sentences like I do all the time. But those are the kinds of things that tell you somebody is just talking to me. They're talking to me. They're not talking at me. This is information that I can take in and believe, and that's really, really important. So from an employer brand standpoint, I don't think you can do anything that's more powerful. From a candidate experience, you give candidates information that's relevant to them in a format where they want to consume it in a way that they're going to believe. It's the best way you can start. You won't be surprised to hear that we are big critics of stock photos and so forth. Don't start off the relationship with lies. Don't show them people that aren't really your own employees. Let them see who you're going to work with. You say all the time, if you've got an essentially positive corporate culture, that's going to come through in your videos. If people are proud to work there, if they feel good about the work they're doing, it's going to come through in ways that you cannot script. So get out of their way and let them talk about why they want someone to join their team and why they come to work every day. It really is amazing. Obviously, powers your employee referral. It helps you leverage your social media, and it gives you a platform to showcase your culture and diversity. So doing all those things in one tool.
Nice. Nice. Anybody in the audience, if any questions, feel free to chime in. I see Kevin's live, Sean, Gary, Heather, Matt.
Okay, let me
chime in. I've got a quick question for Maury. Anything else you want to share, Maury, before start to wind down?
No, but Chris, can you unshare my screen because you had me hide the share screen?
Yep, I will take it off.
Thank you.
There we go. So we're back, just you and I. Well, I appreciate the talk today, Maury. It's been I learned a lot about recruitment marketing. I hope the audience did as well. Any big plans for the coming year with the platform? What's next for you guys?
Yes, actually, there is, and we joke about the fact that we're very proud of the fact that for a long time we haven't had a product roadmap. Not because we're lazy, but we've developed a very clean, very straightforward platform. And we're not just going to add bells and whistles to it just so we have something to announce, because it clutters things up. It makes it more complicated. What we've got works. But we are about to launch a new enhanced video library that will become a central platform for organizations to manage all of their employment brand, all of their recruiting videos in one place, and make it easier to share them. So not only the videos that go into Sparks, and we feel really strongly that Sparks being rec specific are the most powerful things you can do, because that's how you can measure. Did you move the needle? Did you actually attract more people? Those will always be a core here. But we believe video works. We believe it's compelling. It's the whole reason you and I are doing this, with the visual and the video as well. It really does make a difference. So there are lots of ways you can use video, lots of parts of your recruitment process where it can help. So we're expanding the platform so you can use it as a central video management and sharing platform for all of your recruiting video.
Awesome. That's pretty cool.
It's not public yet. I'm dying to release this. My CTO is going, Maury, it's not fully tested yet. Do not say a word. So it is not live. It will be as soon as my CTO stops strangling me every time I want to deploy it. We're very close.
We got a question from the chat here. Alan asks, are there concerns about video employees who might be in a union or in a shop environment? Do you have any thoughts around that?
Yeah, lots of them. Because we get asked all the time, do employees have to sign releases to do this? What are the issues there? For the actual Spark videos, and we're working with a lot of large investment organizations, defense contractors, people whose compliance teams are awesome. If you don't, they're frightening. But for the actual Spark videos, as every client we've worked with, legal department has agreed, if someone gets a letter that says, we're asking you to make a video for this purpose, when they make the video, they are agreeing to have the video used for that purpose. That's very different than an employee going to a company picnic, where you might just be filming the company picnic and all of a sudden their image is out publicly and they never agreed to that. You don't have their consent. But when you ask them specifically to make a video for a specific purpose, you have consent there. It's not implied, it's explicit consent. So actually none of our clients now are requiring employees to sign additional consent forms because there's consent in the act of doing that. If you're in an open workspace with union employees, that might be different if you've got people in the background. It's wonderful if you can have people in the background. You get a sense of the energy of the place and movement and that kind of thing. We try to tell people don't sit in front of a wall like I'm doing right now, because I'm not trying to convey my workspace right now. But if I were, I would spin this around and show you the activity behind me. So union might be a little different, but so far it's been really straightforward of having employees actually give consent, do the videos, and then use them for that purpose.
Gotcha. Very good. Awesome. All right, Maury. Well, thank you for your time again today. We'll
My pleasure.
have the show available for replay. We'll push it out on YouTube and Facebook as well, and our channels there for RecTech Media. So thanks for joining us today. And Sparkstart.com is the URL. And feel free to, if you want to give me your contact info, feel free to do that and say goodbye.
Okay, great. And if anybody wants a demo, they can just come to the website, request a demo, and we'll take you through the whole platform. So thanks, Chris. It's been really fun. I appreciate it.
All right, Maury. And for my frequent viewers, I'll be back in May with a couple new shows. I think we're going to have on Emissary, the text recruiting platform, and also Phil Strazula from Next Wave Hire. So it's coming up in May, so stay tuned for that. I'm Chris Russell. See you next time.
Bye.
See you, Maury. Thanks.